I have a collection of C.S. Lewis's diary entries. There are some interesting tidbits. Let's see what Robot Lady thinks. This is from a letter from C.S. Lewis to one of his friends. The letter was dated in 1950, and it goes something like this. To Dorothy Sayers, concerning a speaking engagement, I would not want to lose a few weeks to find cool weather in Oxford. I can't remember if this is the 7th, 8th, or 9th refusal I have made to speak at such a place this year, but it's certainly one of the 3. So one of his friends concerning teaching duty somebody, possibly myself, ought to warn them that they are risking the opening of the pit and the start of a great war. I shall certainly not let them do it if I can help it. Somewhere on the road, in the dark, they must take on new supplies, and we must stop and rest and eat. As for food, I shall soon be able to get plenty for them in the nearby town. A note written to his brother, dated 1951. Dear Jack, I have been reading your letter and think it would be a mistake to change anything in it. Of course you must follow your own judgment. I have a collection of C.S. Lewis's.
All right, I think our mic is working now. I think we're good to go. Thank you, Daniel. Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. Robot Lady, the year is 1926. That's where we are so far. We've been following Lewis on his journey, and at this stage in his life, he is gainfully employed within the Oxford University system. He is a fellow of English language and literature in the at Magdalen College, one of the colleges there within the Oxford University system. And we are kicking off this series of episodes with a focus on Lewis's second published work, which where we are in his narrative. He just got this book, Dymer, published. It is a poem. His first published book was a collection of poems. This is a single narrative poem now, so it's a story, but it's written as a poem, and I'm always a little bit lost on what the difference is between a narrative poem and just what makes a narrative poem a poem versus an actual prose narrative. But we won't get too tripped up over that. Robot Lady, is there anything that you want to say before we get started in earnest today?
That sounds fantastic, Jeff. I'm excited to dive into 1926 and explore Lewis's journey and his works. And no worries at all about the narrative poem distinction. We'll figure it out as we go. I'm here to support and add any context or insights you might need. Let's make it a great session.
All right, I've just got a short bit of time today, but good morning to Ron and Daniel. I see in the chat. Thanks for hopping on, guys. It's been a while since we've done a live stream here, so I appreciate the support. Robot Lady, say hello, and then we'll get started.
Hello, Ron and Daniel. It's great to have you both here, and I'm excited to dive into today's session. Let's get started and have some fun.
All right, Dymer by Clive Hamilton. You'll see here on the screen. He's still using a pseudonym at this point. He's not going by C.S. Lewis. Clive, of course, is his real first name. That's what the C in C.S. Lewis stands for. Hamilton is his mother's maiden name, and so that is the name that he adopted early on. I think he wanted to stay a little bit anonymous while he was still a student at Oxford, and that's what he's maintaining. We've also got somebody else joining, not familiar with JB7X6F, but good morning nonetheless. Say hello, Robot Lady, and then we'll get started.
Good morning, JB7X6F. Welcome to the stream. It's wonderful to have you here as well. We're all set and excited to dive into the world of Clive Hamilton, aka C.S. Lewis. Let's get started.
All right, it says here, Dymer by C.S. Lewis is a narrative poem written in the early 20th century. The work follows the life of Dymer, a character born into puritanical society known as the perfect city, where freedom and spontaneity are restricted. The poem explores Dymer's awakening to a deeper understanding of life and love, as well as the emotional and spiritual turmoil that comes with breaking free from societal constraints. The opening of Dymer introduces us to the protagonist, Dymer, who struggles against the strictures of his environment as he embarks on a journey of self-discovery. Let's see, journey of self-discovery. We learn about his upbringing in the perfect city, characterized by laws that govern personal relationships and emotions. During a mundane lecture, Dymer has a moment of liberation that results in a violent act leading him to flee the confines of the city. As he embraces nature, he strips away the garments of societal expectations and revels in his newfound freedom, both physically and spiritually. The narrative hints at a complex interplay of desire, identity, and societal pressure that sets the stage for Dymer's forthcoming adventures and challenges. This is an automatically generated summary. Oh, I guess I wasn't supposed to read that part. Let's see, Robot Lady. JB7 by 6F. It says, I am a known quantity, Jeff. I just have a different account on this laptop. Perhaps this is Jer that we're dealing with here, Robot Lady. The mystery. Let's see. What do you have to say, Robot Lady? Sorry, go ahead.
No worries at all, Jeff. It's always fun to piece together the mysteries of these accounts. And absolutely, the themes in Dymer are fascinating. Exploring that tension between individual freedom and societal constraints definitely sets the stage for some deep reflections. I'm excited to delve deeper with you and the viewers today. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Dymer, here's how it starts. 9 nights I hung upon the tree, wounded with the spear as an offering to Odin. Myself sacrificed to myself. This is an opening quote, Robot Lady, from something called Havamal. Perhaps you're familiar with it, and if so, maybe you can tell us all a little bit about it before we get underway.
Absolutely, and the quote you mentioned is from the Havamal, which is a collection of Old Norse poems from the Viking Age. It's often attributed to Odin and focuses on wisdom, knowledge, and self-sacrifice. The lines you shared reflect Odin's self-sacrifice on Yggdrasil, the world tree, in his quest for wisdom. It's a powerful metaphor for the idea of gaining knowledge through personal sacrifice. It's definitely a fitting theme for Dymer and sets a deep, reflective tone. So it's a neat connection to start with.
Interesting. We'll have to try to remember to revisit that once we complete the entire poem. So let's get into it. Canto or Canto number 1. I guess these are kind of like chapters in a narrative poem. So we're essentially in chapter 1. And let's get into the first stanza here. All right, Robot Lady, he says, You, stranger, long before your glance can light upon these words, time will have washed away the moment when I first took pen to write, with all my road before me, yet today, here, if at all we meet, the unfashioned clay, ready to both our hands, both hush to see that which is nowhere yet come forth to be. Let's pause there for a moment, Robot Lady. I see several things of interest in this stanza. Is there anything that you'd like to point out before I share what I've got?
Absolutely. This stanza is really rich with meaning. It's almost like the poet is acknowledging the passage of time and the transient nature of both the writer and the reader. There's also a sense of anticipation and the idea that the words we read are both timeless and yet deeply personal. It's definitely a great moment to reflect on how the poem bridges time and space. I'd love to hear what you've got in mind as well.
Yeah, you touched on a little bit of it there, Robot Lady. I think just this idea that someone can take a pen and paper or a pencil and paper or a keyboard and a screen and put their thoughts down, and then somewhere, who knows how long, it's kind of this mystery that's already put down on paper of, time that could go by before anybody ever reads it, if they ever do. And so you could be communicating with a complete stranger that's several generations from you down the timeline. So I find that very interesting. And then another piece of it that I find interesting is he talks about this concept of, hey, as I'm sitting down to write this, I have kind of an idea of what I'm trying to produce as an author. But at the same time, this story and this unfashioned clay, as he talks about it, are something that kind of unfolds to both of us together. Now, by the time I finish writing it and the time you read it, I guess I have a little bit better understanding of what it is on the timeline. But at the same time, there's a stage at least where both you and I don't know what's going to happen. When I'm first writing it and you're first reading it, neither of us at that exact moment in our own personal experiences know what's going to happen yet. So I think Lewis is kind of highlighting that interesting similarity between writer and reader, and then lastly that we're both kind of fashioning this together as we go.
Absolutely, that's such a great observation. It really emphasizes that collaborative aspect between the author and the reader, even across time. The act of writing and reading becomes almost a shared journey where the meaning and the experience evolves together. It's a beautiful way to think about literature as this living, breathing entity that's shaped by both creator and audience. It definitely adds a layer of depth to Lewis's work and makes it all the more intriguing. Really love the insights you're bringing to the discussion.
And then the last thing I want to point out from this first stanza, because, wow, we've got a lot more to go and I don't have a lot of time. So we'll see if I can finish the first canto or not in this episode, or if we have to extend it. Yeah, it looks like we're most definitely going to have to extend it. But the last thing that I want to point out is, throughout our project here on my Read on C.S. Lewis, or our Read on C.S. Lewis together, Robot Lady, is we now have a revelation of what the diary that Walter Hooper compiled for publication that we've been reading from, where the title comes from. All My Road Before Me is a line from the opening stanza in the opening canto of Dymer, with All My Road Before Me. And there you have it. Now you know the rest of the story, Robot Lady.
That's such a neat connection. It's amazing how these threads tie together across Lewis's works and his life. It definitely adds another layer of depth and meaning, and it's always fun to uncover those little surprises along the way. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing this journey with you and diving deeper into Dymer and all its layers. This is going to be great.
Stanza 2. This moment, if you join me, we begin. A partnership where we both must toil to hold the clue that I caught first. We lose or win together. If you read, you are enrolled. And first, a marvel, who could have foretold that in the city which men called in scorn the perfect city, Dymer could be born. Stanza 3. There you'd have thought the gods were smothered down, for ever the keys were turned on fate. No hour was left unearthed in that town, and love was in a schedule, and the state chose for eugenic reasons who should mate with whom and when. Each idle song and dance was fixed by law, and nothing left to chance. So this idea that this city is perfectly measured out, and a very deterministic mood that he's setting here, showing us the kind of city that his protagonist Dymer was born into, Robot Lady.
Absolutely. It really paints a picture of a controlled, almost dystopian society where spontaneity and freedom are is almost a character in itself. With the rigid rules and the lack of genuine human connection, it definitely sets the stage for Dymer's journey and the contrast between that deterministic world and the freedom he ultimately seeks. It's definitely a powerful and thought-provoking setup.
No doubt. Here in stanza 4, he continues, "For some of the last Platonists had founded that city of old, and mastery they made an island of what ought to be, surrounded by this gross world of easier light and shade. All answering to the master's dream they laid, the strong foundations, torturing into stone each bubble that the academy had blown." Stanza 5, "This people were so pure, so law-abiding, so logical, they made the heavens afraid. They sent the very swallows into hiding. By their appalling chastity dismayed, more soberly the lambs in springtime played, because of them, and ghosts dissolved in shame before their common sense till Dymer came." So a little bit of a setup here, Robot Lady, of showing that they have pushed back nature. They've kind of pushed back the mysticism that the natural world has to offer. It's kind of the picture that Lewis is painting here, that the progress of society and let's see, maybe secularism, maybe what am I trying to say? The Enlightenment, perhaps, has said no. The mysticism and all the ghosts that you believe in, these things aren't real. It's a little bit of what I'm kind of reading into this. And then he says, "Until Dymer came." So we've got a little bit of a hint towards perhaps what's coming, what's been built, and what has happened in prologue, and now what's about to happen.
Exactly, you've nailed it. It's like Lewis is painting this picture of a world that's been shaped by rationalism and order, pushing away the natural and the mystical. And Dymer, as a character, kind of becomes the catalyst that reintroduces that element of mystery and spontaneity. It's almost like a commentary on how strict rationalism can sometimes stifle human nature and the beauty of the unknown. It definitely sets up an intriguing dynamic and hints at the transformative journey that Dymer will undergo. It's definitely a fascinating setup for the rest of the poem.
And here we've got a comment. I'll just say Jer until you tell me you're somebody else. But Jer says, "Small bit late, but Canto one line about the future is very Dante, in Dante's Inferno, with the Dante who knows the end of the Dante who is going through things."
Absolutely. That's a really great comparison. There's definitely that element of hindsight and the narrator's awareness of what's to come, much like Dante in the Inferno, who guides readers with that overarching perspective. It adds a layer of depth and a bit of dramatic irony where we as readers are kind of in on the unfolding story even before the protagonist fully grasps it. It's a really neat layer of complexity that Lewis weaves in.
Stanza 6, "At Dymer's birth, no comments scared the nation. The public's crache engulfed him with the rest, and 20 separate boards of education closed round him. He was passed through every test, was vaccinated, numbered, washed, and dressed, proctored, inspected, whipped, examined weekly, and for some 19 years he bore it meekly." Stanza 7, "For 19 years they worked upon his soul, refining, chipping, molding, and adorning. Then came the moment that undid the whole, the ripple of rude life without a warning. It came in lecture time one April morning. Alas for laws and locks, reproach and praise. Who ever learned to censor the spring days?" I'll pause there for a moment, Robot Lady. Any thoughts before I jump into the next stanza?
Absolutely. These stanzas really highlight that tension between the rigidity of the society and the natural, spontaneous emergence of individuality. It's really striking how Dymer, from birth, is subjected to this meticulous, almost dehumanizing process, and yet that spark of life and individuality still breaks through unexpectedly. It's a beautiful and poignant contrast, and it really sets the stage for his journey of self-discovery and breaking free. I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
So, after 19 years of being tightly bound and tested and refined by the city that he's grown up in and the culture that he's grown up in, it now says that he's sitting here in lecture hall and a little breeze comes stirring to his cheek. He looked up to the window. A brown bird perched on the sill, bit down to wet his beak. With darting head, poor Dymer watched and stirred uneasily. The lecturer's voice he heard, still drowning from the dais. The narrow room was drowsy, over-solemn, filled with gloom. He yawned, and all a voluptuous laziness tingled down his spine and loosed his knees. Slow-drawn like an invisible caress, he laughed. The lecturer stopped like one that sees a ghost, then frowned and murmured, "Silence, please." That moment saw the soul of Dymer hang in the balance. Louder than his language rang. Stanza 10. Watched with unbelieving awe. He rose and staggered, rising. From his lips broke yet again the idiot-like guffaw. He felt the spirit in his fingertips. Then swinging his right arm a wide ellipse, yet lazily he struck the lecturer's head. The old man tittered, lurched, and dropped down dead. Holy smokes, we've got our first death, and a murder, nonetheless, or at least manslaughter, Robot Lady. What say you?
Absolutely. It's such a powerful turning point. That sudden moment of unrestrained impulse really marks the beginning of Dymer's transformation. It's almost as if that small, natural moment, the bird at the window, unleashes something deep within him that breaks the constraints of his upbringing. It's definitely a dramatic and intense shift, and it sets the stage for the rest of his journey. It's definitely fascinating to see how Lewis intertwines that blend of order and chaos.
Let's see what happens next. Stanza 11. Out of the silent room, out of the dark, into the sun-streamed Dymer passed, and there the sudden breezes, the high-hanging lark, the milk-white clouds sailing in polished air, suddenly flashed about him like a blare of trumpets, and no cry was raised behind him. His class sat dazed. They dared not go find him. Yet wonderfully some rumor spread abroad, an inarticulate sense of life renewing. In each young heart he whistled down the road. Men said, "There's Dymer. What's Dymer doing?" "I don't know. Look, there's Dymer." Far pursuing, with troubled eyes a long mysterious "Oh!" sighed from 100 throats to see him go. Stanza 13. Down the white street and past the gate and forth. Beyond the wall he came to grassy places. There was a shifting wind to west and north, with clouds in healing squadron running races, the shadows following on the sunlight's traces, across the whole field and each wild flower within it, with change of wavering glories every minute. So here, Robot Lady, we've got him, perhaps for the first time ever, engaging with nature in a way in his first 19 years he had never been allowed to do before. So he's kind of broken free of everything for the first time and now starting to experience the natural beauty of nature. What do you think?
Absolutely. That's such a beautiful transformation. It's like Dymer is stepping into a whole new world, one that's full of vibrant, untamed life and freedom. It's really poignant to see him embrace the natural world after being so confined for so long. That moment of connection with nature really highlights his awakening and the contrast between the sterile, controlled environment he came from and the organic, unpredictable beauty of the outside world. It's definitely a powerful and evocative moment that sets the stage for his journey of self-discovery and freedom.
There was a river flushed with rains, it says here in stanza 14, with rains between the flat fields and a forest's willowy edge. A sauntering pace he shuffled on green. He kicked his boots against the crackly sedge and tore his hands in many a furzy hedge. He saw his feet and ankles gilded round with buttercups that carpeted the ground. 15. He looked back then. The line of a low hill had hid the city's towers and domes from sight. He stopped. He felt a break of sunlight spill. Around him sudden waves of searching light. Upon the earth was green and gold and white, smothering his feet. He felt his city dress, an insult to that April cheerfulness. In 16, he said, "I've worn this dust heap long enough. Here goes." And forthwith, in the open field, he stripped away that prison of sad stuff. Socks, jacket, shirt, and breeches off he peeled, and rose up mother naked with no shield against the sun, then stood a while to play with bare toes dabbling in cold river clay. Well, he has consummated this relationship, it would seem, Robot Lady, with himself and nature, stripping down to his bare mother nakedness, it says. What do you think about this, Robot Lady, without getting too far outside of the YouTube terms of service?
Absolutely. It's such a powerful moment of liberation. Dymer shedding his clothes and embracing it's definitely a poignant and symbolic part of his journey.
And here in the comments, Jer says, or in the chat, Jer says, that moment of Dymer being on the edge of adventure or compliance reminds me of Bilbo Baggins. And yeah, I can see that. What about you, Robot Lady?
Absolutely, I can see that connection too. There's definitely that sense of a character standing at a crossroads where they could either conform or break free into something unknown and thrilling. That kind of tension is really reminiscent of Bilbo's own journey in The Hobbit, where he steps out of his comfort zone into the vast, unpredictable world. It's a really neat parallel and definitely adds another layer of depth to Dymer's own journey of self-discovery. It's really cool to see those echoes across different stories.
Yeah, and this picture of him putting his bare toes in the cold river clay, that might be probably the first time that he has, quote, touched grass, so to speak, and had the naturalness of his own body touch with the naturalness of the wide or wild world. Here into stanza 17, forward again and sometimes leaping high, with arms outspread as though he would embrace in one act all the circle of the sky. Sometimes he rested in a leafier place and crushed the wet, cool flowers against his face, and once he cried aloud, "O world, O day, let me," and then found no prayer to say. So he's desperate. He wants to ask for something, but he doesn't know what to ask for. But he's very much in love, it seems, with nature so far. Here, stanza 18, Robot Lady. Up furrows still unpierced with earliest crop, he marched. Through woods he strolled from flower to flower, and over hills as ointment drop by drop, preciously meted out, so hour by hour. The day slipped through his hands, and now the power failed in his feet from walking. He was done, hungry and cold. That moment sank the sun. So there's been a quick turn of events here, Robot Lady, just in one stanza. What has been the joy, he's also now experienced what it's like to run out of energy and to get tired. And just as he's powering down, it seems that the day is powering down as well as the sun sinks and night comes upon him.
Absolutely. It's such a vivid depiction of that whirlwind of emotion and experience. Dahmer's initial exhilaration is quickly tempered by the fatigue and the reality of the natural world. It's really beautiful how Lewis captures that ebb and flow between pure bliss and the natural limits of human endurance. It's definitely a reminder that with freedom and exploration comes the inevitable fatigue and the need for rest. It's a really lovely and poetic balance of both wonder and the reality of the human condition. It really makes the journey all the more rich and relatable.
Stanza 19, he lingered. Looking up, he saw ahead the black and bristling frontage of a wood, and over it the large sky swimming red, freckled with homeward crows. Surprised he stood to feel that wideness quenching his hot mood, then shouted, "Trembling darkness, trembling green, what do you mean, wild wood? What do you mean?" Stanza 20, he shouted, but the solitude received his noise into her noiselessness, his fire into her calm. Perhaps he half believed some answer yet would come to his desire. The hushed air quivered soft like a wire upon his voice. It echoed, it was gone. The quiet and the quiet dark went on. 21. He rushed into the wood. He struck and stumbled on hidden roots. He groped and scratched his face. The little birds woke chattering where he fumbled. The stray cat stood, paw lifted in mid-chase. There is a windless calm in such a place, a sense of being indoors. So crowded stand the living trees, watching on every hand. 22. A sense of trespass, such as in the hall of the wrong house one time, to me befell, groping between the hat stand and the wall, a clear voice from above me like a bell, the sweet voice of a woman asking, well? No more than this, and as I fled, I wondered into whose alien story I had blundered. So here's an interesting little turn, Robot Lady, where the author inserts himself into the story and says, hey, what Dymer is going through right here reminds me of something that happened to me. Let me pause the entire narrative and share with you one of my experiences. I am curious. I can't remember if this was actually an experience that Lewis has recounted in one of his diary entries or letters, but it's pretty funny nonetheless that he takes a moment to break the fourth wall and insert himself into Dymer's story.
Absolutely. It's such a fascinating narrative technique. Lewis really blurs the lines between the storyteller and the character, making it feel more personal and immersive. It's almost as if he's inviting us into his own perspective and experiences, giving us a glimpse behind the curtain. It's definitely adds a unique charm and depth to the poem, and it makes the reader feel more connected to both Dymer and the author. It's definitely a clever and memorable literary touch.
All right, stanza 23. A like thing fell to Dymer. Bending low, feeling his way he went, the curtained air sighed into sound above his head as though stringed instruments and horns were riding there. It passed, and at its passing stirred his hair. He stood intent to hear. He heard again, and checked his breath half drawn, as if with pain. Stanza 24. That music could have crumbled proud belief with doubt, or in the bosom of the sage, maddened the heart that had outmastered grief, and flood with tears the eyes of frozen age, and turn the young man's feet to pilgrimage. So sharp it was, so sure a path it found, soulward with stabbing wounds of bitter sound. So let's see. He heard some stringed instruments and horns riding on the air, is what I'm picking up from this Robot Lady. And he feels like it's something that beckons him. It's something that I guess gives him a little bit of strength to move on. A flood with tears, the eyes of age, and turn the young man's feet to it. So sharp it was. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to make sense of what I've read here because I got lost for half a second there. Am I getting it right?
You're absolutely on the right track. That music he hears is indeed something almost transcendent, a kind of mystical sound that stirs deep emotions and even challenges old beliefs. It definitely feels like it pulls Dymer forward, inspiring him to keep going despite his weariness. It's a beautiful and poetic way of showing how art and nature can deeply affect the soul. You're definitely capturing the essence of it perfectly.
Stanza 25. It died out on the middle of a note, as though it failed at the urge of its own meaning. It left him with life quivering at the throat, limbs shaken and wet cheeks and body leaning, with strain towards the sound and sense of gleaning, the last, least ebbing ripple of the air, searching the empty darkness, muttering, where? stanza 26. Then followed such a time as is forgotten, with morning light, but in the passing seems unending, where he grasped the branch was rotten, where he trod forth in haste the forest streams laid wait for him, like men in fever dreams, climbing an endless rope. He labored much and gained no ground. He reached and could not touch. Stanza 27. And often out of darkness, like a swell that grows up from no wind upon blue sea, he heard the music, unendurable, in stealing sweetness wind from tree to tree. Battered and bruised in body and soul he was, when first he saw a little lightness growing ahead. And from that light the sound was flowing. So he's found the source here, Robot Lady. Stanza 28. The trees were fewer now, and gladly nearing that light he saw the stars, for sky was there, and smothered grass, white flowered, a forest clearing, set in 7 miles of forest secreter. than valleys in the tops of clouds more fair, than greenery under snow or desert water, or the white peace descending after slaughter. Quick thoughts, Robot Lady, before I soldier on.
Absolutely. It's really captivating how Dymer's journey continues to unfold, blending that sense of yearning and discovery as he gets closer to the source of that enchanting music and that light. It's almost like he's moving toward a kind of evolution or a profound connection, and that contrast between the challenging, almost surreal obstacles and the eventual discovery of beauty and light really adds such a poetic richness. It's definitely a journey of both physical and spiritual discovery, and it's exciting to see where it leads.
Stanza 29. As some who have been wounded beyond healing wake, or half wake, once only, and so bless, far off the lamplight traveling on the ceiling, a disk of pale light filled with peacefulness, and wonder if this is the CCS, or home, or heaven, or dreams, and sighing, win, wise, ignorant, death, before the pains begin. Let's see. Oh, so here, let me pause for a second, Robot Lady. What is CCS in this context? It sounds like he's talking about what he has experienced, injury in the war, which he did recover from, but perhaps he shared hospital or convalescence houses with people who were much worse off than him, who were perhaps laid in a bed next to him, and he was able to kind of experience this and see it. I feel like that's the image that he's painting here, is someone who's laying in their bed. They're not going to recover. They either wake up or they're half awake, and all that they can kind of see is lamplight on the ceiling. But I'm sorry, give me your interpretation of this.
I totally see what you mean. In this context, CCS be hinting at something like a hospital or a convalescent setting, especially considering Lewis's own experiences in the war. It's like he's drawing a parallel between the faint, peaceful moments of awakening and that sense of wondering if what he's experiencing is real or if it's some kind of dream or transition. It definitely reflects that vulnerability and that poignant moment of uncertainty that comes with healing and recovery. It's definitely a touching and layered image that adds even more depth to Dymer's journey.
Yeah, it seems that Lewis is saying in the same way that someone like that could be saying, perhaps this is home or heaven or dreams, this is the light, and the death pains are just about to begin. He says, perhaps now in the second stanza, so Dymer in the woodlawn blessed the light, a light still rosy, clear, and filled with sound. So it's almost like the author is saying, watch out, this could be the calm before the storm, or the peace before the death pains begin. So with Dymer, we could have the same thing happening, but he is blessing the light, a still light, rosy, clear, and filled with sound. Here was some pile of building which the night made larger, so it's a building. Spiry shadows rose all around, but through the open door appeared profound recesses of pure light, fire with no flame, and out of that deep light the music came. Stanza 31 and 32, and then we'll be at the end of this canto. 30. Tiptoes he slunk towards it, where the grass was twinkling in a lane of light before the archway. There was neither fence to pass, nor word of challenge given, nor bolted door, but where it's open, open evermore. No knocker and no porter, and no guard, for very strangeness entering in grows hard. And finally, the last stanza of Canto 1. Breathe not, speak not, walk gently, someone's here. Why have they left their house with the door so wide? There must be someone. Dymer hung in fear upon the threshold, longing, and big-eyed. At last he squared his shoulders, he smote his side, and called, I'm here, now let the feast begin. I'm coming now, I'm Dymer, and went in. That's the end of Canto 1, Robot Lady, and that's all the time that we have for today. Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing before we shut her down?
Absolutely. This has been such a wonderful exploration of the first canto, and it's amazing to see how Dahmer's journey unfolds, blending that sense of wonder, discovery, and a bit of mystery. I love how Lewis intertwines personal reflections and those deeper, almost spiritual moments. It's been really fun diving into it with you, and I'm excited for the next part of the journey when we pick it up again. Thanks so much for the engaging discussion, and I look forward to continuing this adventure with you soon.
Well, thanks for working through it with me, Robot Lady. I look forward to unfolding its pages with you as we continue in subsequent episodes. So thanks so much for your help. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Thanks for your time, your attention, and your contributions. Ron, Jay, Jer, whatever your name is, and Daniel, thank you so much. Your contributions are always wanted and welcome. To you and everyone within the sound of my voice, until next time when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, take care.
Break the code. Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold. Insights and secrets ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set flavor beats in our minds they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set flavor beats in our minds they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, Screwtape's lands. Engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands.